What I can tell you is right around 12:30 this afternoon, officers responded to reports of a vandalism near Marysville Boulevard and South Avenue. It was initially reported by the caller that a male who appeared to be homeless threw an object at her vehicle and then ended up chasing her with a stick and hit her vehicle window with a stick. So when our officers got there, they located a suspect matching the description. When they tried to detain him, the suspect did flee on foot, leading to a short foot pursuit, and then that suspect did access a Sacramento Police vehicle and then led officers on pursuit. Once the vehicle pursuit was southbound Highway 99, the pursuit was handed over to the California Highway Patrol, who took control of the pursuit. What I can tell you at this time is the pursuit did terminate in Lodi, California, southbound 99, where the suspect did pull over and surrender to officers. At this time, the suspect is in custody. He's going to be treated at a hospital, just make sure he doesn't have any injuries from that vehicle pursuit, and then he will be booked in the Sacramento County Jail for a number of charges, felony charges related to this incident. The suspect is 28-year-old Isaac Paval of Sacramento, has some local criminal history here in Sacramento, and is on pretrial probation for a DUI as well. So at this point, we're still going to be collecting a lot of information and trying to figure out what happened. I know there was some questions earlier about whether the suspect accessed a rifle. That is something that we're actively investigating. Obviously, if we're able to confirm that that did in fact happen, the suspect would be charged with the applicable charges in that regard as well. Not a lot much more information that I have to release at this time. It is very preliminary. We're extremely grateful that no officers were injured during this incident, and we're equally grateful for the partnerships with our outside agencies that assisted during this incident.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
It sounds like that he had some kind of medical situation going on. Was it he was dehydrated? Do we know what the status of that is? Now, obviously, with medical stuff, you have to do one step at a time, but how important is the medical in this situation, especially when it comes to something like this?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, our officers are trained, and I think just across the state, officers are trained to provide medical care when it's safe and feasible to do so. And that's why that suspect was taken to the hospital. First and foremost, we got to make sure that we safely detain that person. Obviously, this person showed a propensity to flee from officers, and so once that person was safely detained, medical personnel was requested, and then they were taken to an area hospital. Again, at this point, from this point forward, once that suspect is medically cleared, then he will be transferred back up here to Sacramento and booked in the county jail.
How was the vehicle disabled?
I don't necessarily think the vehicle was disabled. From what I saw, the vehicle did pull over and the suspect got out of the vehicle. There were some pursuit intervention techniques that were utilized during the pursuit. I don't have that information to release at this time, but it will be part of the investigation.
In situations like this also, is it a good thing to use this further training just to kind of reevaluate and decide what works, what doesn't, especially with something like this? This is a pretty intense thing.
Yeah, certainly. I think as an organization, I can't speak for others, but here at Sacramento Police Department, we're always looking to see how we can do things better, ways we can be safer, smarter, and so this is no different than any other major incident that we respond to. We're going to evaluate it, see what worked, what didn't work, and what we could do better moving forward.
When it comes to the rifle inside of vehicles or any type of vehicles, is it when this happens, is it easily accessible, or is there like safety locks?
There are safety locks that are in place. Like I said, whether this rifle was actually removed from the safety lock by the suspect, that'll be a part of the investigation as well. We'll figure out if that did happen, how it happened. But those weapons that are in the vehicle are locked up. Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I missed this, but I know you're saying around Marysville Boulevard and South Avenue. I noticed there's also a police facility kind of right in that area too.
Yeah.
Was the car that was taken, was that from a responding officer or from that facility? Do you know that?
It was not from the facility. It was from an officer that was at the call for service. Yeah. Good question though. I appreciate you asking that. Anything else?
Has he been arraigned yet or no?
No, he hasn't even been booked into jail yet. He just he's at a hospital being treated, making sure that he's okay, and then we'll take him up here to Sacramento County Jail where he'll be booked.
And the woman who was involved in this initial kind of vandalism, I guess, too, she wasn't injured, nothing there?
I don't have any information about her having any injuries, but I know our officers did speak to her, and that part of the investigation is still being conducted as well. But I don't have that information to release at this time.
I guess what is the protocol when the vehicles do, or when the police officers do a quick response and leave the vehicles unattended?
Well, I don't think that the vehicles were left unattended. They went to go detain the suspect. The suspect then ran from our officers, and so there was a foot pursuit that ensued during that time, and then that suspect got into a police car and took off. But, you know, just like everything else, we're going to evaluate this, look and see what we could do better, things we can do to be safer, and move forward from there.
What's a protocol when it comes to a car in pursuit like this? I mean, obviously,
Yeah.
you don't want to just chase it. You want to coordinate. I mean, that's got to take a lot of detail.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, pursuits are such a unique and dynamic situation, and every one is so uniquely different. You know, you add into to multiple different components: the time of day, the traffic on the roadway, how many people are involved in the pursuit, the officer's familiarity with the area where the pursuit's happening, and then also radio communication. And so, unique about this pursuit, it did go south of the county, and so that proves to be sometimes challenging for our radio communications. And so that's why we're extremely grateful for our partners at the California Highway Patrol to take over the pursuit, because they have the capabilities to keep that radio communication going. Yeah.
And is there anything different in a pursuit where it's a car from the police office versus just a regular car? I mean, do you do anything differently there, or is it just a normal, you know, you're still following this guy, everything like that?
That's a good question. I mean, you know, again, everything is so uniquely different. There's not really much difference here that that's a police car. We were actively engaged in a vehicle pursuit. There were some pursuit intervention techniques that were attempted from my understanding. Now, what agency did that, I don't have that information at this time. But most importantly, you know, we understand that there's weapons in a police car. And so those are factors that are going through our officer's head, you know, anytime that, you know, something like this happens. In a normal car that's maybe stolen or taken, there probably isn't weapons in there, or there might not be weapons in there, but we do know that there are weapons in a police car, so that does prove a little challenging for us during these situations.
I was just going to say, in terms of locking the car, is there a way to, like, when there's a pursuit happening, you can shut the car down? Like, I mean, bait cars programs are obviously been used before, but for police cars, I would imagine it's got to be hairy. There's got to be some ways to lock the car so something like this doesn't happen.
Yeah, I don't have that information to release at this time. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. I appreciate everybody for being here and being patient. As soon as we have more information, I'll just put it in Signal. Make sure you guys have that as well. Okay. Like I said, it'll probably be a couple hours before the suspect is booked into the jail.
Thanks, Anthony.
All right. Thank you.